Fáilte to the 2021 Ireland101 Global Ryan Family Online Gathering. We want to say the warmest welcome to Limerick, and we hope you enjoy what we have in store for you. I'm Megan Scully. I'll be with you for the next while, and I'm a Galway girl and a Limerick lady. I first came to Limerick in 2007 to study in the University of Limerick, one of Ireland's greatest university campuses. And I loved it so much, I had to come back, and I've been here now for the past 5 years in the heart of Limerick City. And I can tell you there is so much to do and to see. It's a great place to live, but also a wonderful place to visit. There's so much history tours. There's so many things to do and see, be it activities, just catching up with some people, or of course, walking around and seeing what the city has to offer. Loads of music as well, great place to eat and to drink. Now we have to extend our warm welcome because there are over 640,000 Ryan family members all across the world. We know it's been a really tough time for you, but we want you to enjoy this experience now as you learn more about the Ryan family name and about Limerick and City. Now, so many people got in touch, and I want to name out as many places I possibly can. I've written down a list here because there are so many of you. So we want to welcome you from New South Wales, Western Australia, British Columbia, Nova Scotia, Ontario, Newfoundland, Labrador, the Dominican Republic, Western Cape in South Africa, England, Scotland, Thailand, and all across the USA, from New York, Florida, Illinois, Texas, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Wyoming, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Hawaii, to name but a few. Wow, there are so many of you. And this, of course, gathering was brought to you by Limerick City and County Council. And as mentioned, you are going to learn so much about your ancestors. Our friends at the Irish History Family Centre have put together some extensive research on the Ryan ancestors and roots here in Limerick. So you're going to learn all about that. They've also done work on people such as former President Barack Obama and Tom Cruise, who, yes, come from Ireland. They all have Irish ancestors. Right, we are going to also learn about certain family locations for the Ryans. And do you know that the Ryan Castle in Abington in County Limerick is where the Ryan clan first ever was founded? So you're going to learn all about that. Also the Ryan DNA project and the newly founded Ryan family clan. And we also want to let you know that we are preparing a Ryan family gathering here in Limerick City in June 2022, literally yards from where I sit right now. We will be bringing you all together. So whether it's your first visit to Limerick or perhaps you want to bring some of your family and friends, we have got an absolutely incredible time in store for you. So for now, to all the Ryans all across the world, please sit back, relax, and enjoy this online family gathering. Now we're going to hear from Pat Daly, CEO of Limerick City and County Council.
Hello, I'm Pat Daly, Chief Executive of Limerick City and County Council, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to the 2021 online Ryan Clan Gathering. This is a wonderful occasion, and I wish you the very, very best with the gathering. It's amazing to think that there are 637,000 members of the Ryan clan. Incredible. And we know many, many of you are directly connected to Limerick. We just want to send our best wishes to all of you in these very strange times that have prompted the virtual gathering, but that's an innovation in itself. And we do wish you the very, very best with the occasion, and to stay safe, be well, so that we can welcome you all next year when you come to Limerick for the gathering.
Now we're going to hear from professional rugby player with Munster Rugby. It's John Ryan.
Hello, this is John Ryan, Munster Rugby player. I just want to reach out and say hello to all the Ryans and to everyone from across the world who are tuning into this event, and also to wish you all the very best from everyone here at Munster Rugby.
We are now going to hear from the head of the Ryan clan. It is Derek Ryan, who is an archaeologist, and he's going to take us around the Ryan ruins in Abington in County Limerick.
Hi, I'm Derek Ryan. Today we're going to be going to some places in County Limerick that are important to the Ryan clan. I'm a member of the Ryan Clan Association, which has been re-established recently. I also am admin on a Facebook page called the Ryan Clan of Tipperary in Limerick, and a Facebook group called Ryan Genealogy and DNA. Hi, here we are standing at the Abbey of Oney, more commonly known, I suppose, as Abington Graveyard. Yeah, it was founded in 1206 by Theobald Walter. It would have been a large abbey, similar in size to Holy Cross Abbey. I suppose we're here. It's in Oney Beg, which is one of the places that would have been associated with the Mullerines or the Ryans heavily. The Abbey of Oney would have been a very wealthy abbey. Large lands attached to it. Would have had a mill, which would have been a generator of economic wealth in an area, So I think the Mullerines or the Ryans would have been all around the area here, up into Oney and obviously Oney Beg, which is now Newport and Maru, and in about I think it was it was 1400s. The Mullerines, as chiefs of the area, actually installed their own abbot of the Abbey Oney here. He was a Gleeson. Now, generally, your abbeys would have been the monks would have been English, So to have an Irish abbot here would have been basically the Ryans were trying to take control of the lands here, Now that didn't seem to go down so well. There was Seymour was then put back in as the abbot after the first Mullerine. Then later, in 1452, there was again they installed a Matthew Mullerine as the abbot, but at this stage, later Fitzwalter basically came down here. He wasn't happy with that, and probably disposed him as the abbot at that stage, So I guess it just kind of shows the I suppose how people, how the Mullerines would have wanted to gain control of these lands,
Wonder, can we make out what's written on this?
We have a translation now of it, again, it's in Latin. So I suppose we don't hear much more about the Mullerines at Abbey Oney until there was a thing basically where Henry VIII he dissolved all the church lands across England and Ireland. He took them into his ownership. So the abbey, it was called the disillusionment of the abbeys. So at that stage then, a lot of lands were up for grabs. So again, the Mullerines moved in here, or the Ryans moved in here to kind of put their rights on the lands, So I suppose that's really when the connection comes in with the Walshes. So the Walshes were leased the land by the crown. But when they came here, the Mullerines were basically sitting here going, you're not getting these lands,
Yeah.
Again, Piers Walsh wrote a letter to one of the king's representatives saying that I can't pay my rents for the lease of these lands because the Mullerines are here, So what do I do, kind of thing, But basically, the grandson of this man here married the daughter of one of the chiefs of the Mullerines, so they basically that was the solution, So they intermarried together, and
The Walshes and the Ryans.
yeah, exactly. So they were in place probably until basically until the days of Cromwell and the Williamite Wars, where all the lands were taken, and again redispersed, more modern mass house that was built around, I suppose, a mass rock. All these parts, all these carvings that came from Abioni, where we were earlier on, or the graveyard, or the Abington is known now, like, you know. We have, I think, this guy here, probably what we'll see is Saint Bernard, who is the patron saint of the Cistercians, which were the monks in Abioni. Then we have this panel here again. It's a religious panel that would have been inside the Abbey of Oni. And it's this one here that's the most interesting. It's definitely a grave or you know, a mural from kind of a tabletop tomb. It's similar to some kind of tombs from, I suppose, medieval times. It could be either Fitzwalter or it could be from the Mother Ryan tomb. We're not sure which one.
We're now going to hear from Dr. Maurice Gleeson, who is in London, and he's going to talk us through the Ryan DNA project.
Hi folks, my name is Maurice Gleeson and I have two ancestral lines that go back to the Ryan surname. One of them goes back to my great-great-grandmother on one side of my family tree, and the other one goes back to my great-great-great-grandmother on the other side of my family tree, and that makes me a double-barreled Ryan. So as well as that, I run the Ryan DNA project, and that's something that I want to talk to you about today, because any of you who are interested in researching your family tree, doing your genealogy, you'll find that the DNA project and the associated Facebook page and the blog are going to be very, very useful resources for you. So let's take a look at that. So here is the Ryan DNA project hosted by the website Family Tree DNA, and you can simply find it by either entering that email address that you see there or just Googling Ryan DNA project. And there are various parts to it. You'll see here we have the DNA results, surnames, activity, links, etc., etc. And associated with this particular project are the Facebook group and the blog. So if we go to the Facebook group, anybody can join this, and you'll see that there are over 1,300 members already on this particular blog. So this is really a great place to visit, to share genealogical information, share photos, ask questions. If you've got a genealogical question, question about your family tree or what records to look up, then ask it on the Facebook page, because people are very helpful, they are bound to know, and there are some really great experts in genealogy on this particular group. So it's a great place for coming together and talking about your Ryan ancestry. Now the other thing that is of interest is the blog. Now the DNA Project website itself has some information, but on the blog I go into a lot more detail about interpreting the results of the DNA tests that people have undertaken. And we have 433 people in the DNA project who've done a DNA test. And on the blog I go into in-depth detail of what the DNA tells us. But also it's a great place to start if you're thinking of doing a DNA test. It tells you about the DNA project itself, how to join the DNA project, how to get the most out of your DNA test. It gives you a brief tour of the project, and also it has the Post Your Pedigree page, where you can actually post your Ryan pedigree going back along your father line, Ryan, all the way back to your most distant known ancestor. And lots of people have posted their Ryan pedigrees on this page. You may even find your own ancestors there. So it's very, very worthwhile going to this page and searching through these various entries to see whether your own ancestry is there. So that's the blog. The DNA results page of the project has a variety of different groups, and we've discovered so far that there's about 9 genetic groups for the Ryan surname. The second group, which is the green group here, group 2, has origins in Tipperary, and this is the largest group within the project, and this group probably represents the Ryans of North Tipperary, and most people who have done their Y-DNA test will fall into this group. But there are other groups of Ryans as well, and you'll see that they are listed down here. And then we have a large group of Ryans who have not yet been grouped into a specific genetic group. So that is the DNA project. If you're interested in joining, just go to the Family Tree DNA website page, click on the join link here. Alternatively, if you need to contact me at all, my email address is there, maurice.doctors.org.uk. So I hope you found that interesting. Do join us on the Facebook group. It's a great resource. And do join the DNA project if you're interested in taking a serious look at your Ryan genealogy. Enjoy the rest of the videos. Thank you for listening.
We are now going to hear from MEP, former Taoiseach, former Minister for Justice. It is Francis Fitzgerald ní Ryan.
Francis Ryan Fitzgerald saying hello to you from the European Parliament office in Dublin. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to say hello to you, even if it is virtually, to the Ryan clan all around the world. My parents were Anna and Tig Ryan from Charleville in County Cork. I was born, however, in Croom, County Limerick, so I sort of claim a Limerick and Cork heritage. And of course, I was brought up in Kildare and have lived in Dublin since I was a teenager. So like all good politicians, I claim a number of counties. I'm MEP for Dublin City and County, but I was also Minister for Justice, Minister for Business and Minister for Children in the Irish government for almost 7 years, and I was Deputy Prime Minister as well. So I'm really pleased to be saying hello to the Ryan clan. They're a lively clan around the world, and I know my own grandparents, the Ryans, I wish they were here today because they were such fun. Musical, interested in the world, interested in culture, interested in politics. So a big hello to you all. And as I say, I look forward to the time when we can actually meet.
Now we're going to hear from Fiona in the Irish Family History Centre.
Hello there, I'm Fiona Fitzsimons from the Irish Family History Centre at EPIC. We're here to help you with your family history. We can provide one-to-one consults for your brick wall problems. We're also available for research commissions. The Irish were the first people in Europe to use surnames, beginning in the 9th century. They took the names of heroic ancestors who had excelled as warriors or kings, using the term wa, yue, to identify themselves as grandsons or descendants of an eponymous hero or king. This later became O Father, giving us the modern O style. There was also a later variant, Mac Mech, the son of, the sons of, duly shortened to Mac. I'm here today to tell you about the history of the Omagh Ryan, Ryans of County Limerick. There are several different origins for the surname Ryan. Our focus is on the Ryans in Limerick, and to a lesser extent, Tipperary. These are a separate and distinct clan group from the smaller, lesser-known family Orion of Idrone, a territory that is situated in present-day County Carlow. In Limerick and Tipperary, the Ryan homeland, the correct form of the name in Irish is O Muel Rian, although it's now abbreviated as O'Rian. Ryan is by far the most common surname in County Tipperary. Its meaning is descendant of the follower of Ryan. It is very probable that Ryan was a forename, although some sources have suggested it is derived from the Irish word for king, ri, and therefore referred to the king's followers. Others have even suggested it was related to the old Irish word rin, meaning water or ocean. Both of those etymologies have subsequently been discounted by scholars who concluded that the Rian in the surnames O'Mael Rian and O'Rian has never been satisfactorily explained. Rian, like Neil, seems to be so ancient that its meaning was lost before records began. The O'Mael Rian emerged at a relatively late date in the 14th century, and at this time they took control of the territory of Uachna or Oni. The territory of Oni comprised two parts: Uachna Cliach, now the barony of Oni Beg in the northeast of County Limerick, and Uachna Tira, now the barony of Oni and Ara in the northwest of County Tipperary. Lawan Gyarth, the Book of Rights, tells us that O'Hiffernan and O'Cahalan were the lords of Uachna Cliach. The ruling clan of Uachna Tira in Tipperary were the Macio. The position of Oni was such that it was a connecting point for anybody crossing into Munster. And historically, because of its strategic importance, rival powers fought for control of the territory. In the 10th century, we find evidence of raids by the Vikings of Limerick and Waterford. In the 13th century, control of Oni was contested by the O'Briens and the English, the Cambro Normans, who settled in Ireland after the conquest. In the 14th century, the O'Mael Rian emerge in the sources for the first time, and we find that they dispossessed the O'Cahalan, the hereditary lords of Uachna Cliach. Although the earliest evidence we have for the O'Mael Rian is from this date, the evidence of their name indicates they were already a distinct clan group for hundreds of years. They survived as lords of Oni for 300 years, from the 14th to the 17th century. Let's take a closer look at the long history of the territory of Oni. In the 10th century, the Vikings allied with the Limerick Figenti, O'Donovan. They took control of Oni. We read in the annals that in 914, Anla, the son of the lord of Uachna Cliach, was killed by the foreigners of Loch Derchach, Waterford Harbour, and the foreigners continued to plunder Munster and Leinster. The unstoppable rise of Brian Boru laid the groundwork for a new power in the 11th century, the O'Brien kings. By the time of the Cambro-Norman invasion, a century later, the O'Briens' power had peaked. They found themselves squeezed as the English knights began to expand into Munster and Thomond. In 1205, Theobald Walter, founder of the Butler family in Ireland, took Oni by right of conquest and granted it in perpetuity to the Cistercian monks to found a monastery. The Cistercian Abbey of Oni was on the banks of the Mulcair River in Abington, County Limerick. The O'Briens continued to assert their overkingship of Oni. In the annals of Inishfallen, we read that in 1313, Donnacha, the son of Donal O'Brien and his brother Brian, accompanied by many nobles from Tuamoon, from Thomond, invaded Oni and slew many of the inhabitants. The political instability created by magnates warring for control over this strategic small territory created opportunities for some. In the 14th century, the O'Mael Rian dispossessed the O'Cahalan. The next evidence we have of the O'Mael Rian is from almost a century later, so we can only presume that they continued in peaceful possession of the territory during that century. In 1452, the Earl of Ormond, determined to show his will was still law in Ireland, took his army on a circuitous hosting around the Gaelic lordships. In July, at the start of his campaign, he entered Orion's territory of Oni, the gateway to Thomond, where he broke down the castle of Oni upon O'Mael Rian. The Earl continued into the Midlands, subduing the O'Dempsey and the O'Connor Failey, and then further north, where he made peace with the O'Farrell and the O'Neills. It was an impressive show of force. The Earl, however, died on his way home, so all the peace terms negotiated between the Irish and the English were nullified by his death. Between 1450 and the 1520s, as the Earls of Ormond became absentees from Ireland, Gaelic Irish territories, like the Omagh Rian in Oney, fell within Eli O'Carroll's sphere of influence. Now, what exactly the Tudors intended by proclaiming Ireland as a kingdom is still contested by historians. Some argue that the Tudors wanted to retain the native ruling people as loyal subjects. And certainly we read in the annals that in 1585, a proclamation of Parliament was issued to the men of Ireland, commanding their chiefs to assemble in Dublin precisely on May Day. And accordingly, they all at that summons met in Dublin face to face. Now among these were the O'Brien of Carrick O'Connell, the Pobal Brian, the descendants of the earlier kings of Munster, but also the Omagh Ryan, Conor na Mwinga, Conor of the long hair, son of William Kerch, the son of Dermot Omagh Ryan, the Lord of Oney, the Lord of Uachna y Vail Rian, was there. Now, although this evidence is very limited, it suggests to us that the O'Briens wanted to revive the pre-conquest relationship they had with the Lords of Oney. As the Tudor state extended its rule to the whole Ireland, they clashed with the native Irish aristocracy. And the greatest of these, Hugh O'Neill, created an Irish confederacy against the state in what became the 9 Years' War. In 1599, O'Neill planned to bring an ambitious hosting into Meath, Leinster and Munster, as well as the southern side of Ireland. He wanted to know, his intention was to try and determine which of them were in friendship and which in opposition to him. He sent an envoy ahead, one of the O'Connor Don, into East Munster. And the annals tell us the envoy proceeded by the shortest ways to go to the Earl of Desmond, and he directed his course by Oney on the borders of the Shannon. The annals describe the route as passing from the monastery of Oney to the bridge of Bunbrishta in the county of Limerick. This is the last piece of evidence we have from traditional Irish sources, from the annals. And it underlines the strategic importance of Oney as the gateway into Thomond and southern Munster. Whoever controlled this territory possessed an influence that was far greater than the lands they possessed or than their stature. The Ryans continued to survive as proprietors in Oney until the Cromwellian plantations. In the Down survey maps of the 1650s, we find Dermot Ryan and Con Ryan of Cappanaheny holding 310 acres of arable pasture and timber. Cormac Ryan, a justice of the peace, holding more than 1,000 acres, of which 650 was arable pasture. Cormac and Dermot Ryan holding in excess of 800 acres. After the Cromwellian plantations, the Ryans were reduced to the status of tenants on the lands to which they had been lords for over 300 years, from the 14th to the mid-17th century. Tony Ryan was an Irish billionaire, businessman and philanthropist. He was the founder of Ryanair, the no-frills airline, which is now one of the largest airlines in all of Europe. Senator Paul Ryan is a retired American politician. He's a former Speaker of the House of Representatives. In 2012, Senator Ryan was the vice presidential nominee for the Republican Party, running unsuccessfully alongside candidate Mitt Romney. Frank Ryan was an Irish politician, a journalist and a Republican. He was active in the Irish Civil War and was the first editor of An Phoblacht. He took part in the Spanish Civil War as one of the International Brigade, fighting for the Popular Front. He was captured and sentenced to death, but he was granted an escape personally by General Franco. He died in 1944.
Thank you so much there to Fiona. If you want to research your family, go to the Irish genealogy section at Ireland101.com. Fill out your research details, and that will go to Fiona and her team to assess how they can help you. Right, now we're going to hear from Laura Ryan at Limerick City and County Council to talk to us more about the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Hello, I'm Laura Ryan, Head of Marketing and Communications at Limerick City and County Council. I'm also a very proud Ryan from Limerick, and I'm delighted to join all of you, my fellow clan members from all over the world for this exciting virtual event. My job is to sell Limerick, both here at home and internationally. And despite all the challenges of the last 12 months, we've had a really busy year. Launching our new Limerick brand and extending an invitation to the rest of the world to come here to Limerick to visit when it's safe to do so. Limerick's brand is Atlantic Edge, European Embrace, and it's all about our county's warmth and resilience. And it really is a sign of the newfound confidence in Limerick in who we are, what we are, and also what we have to offer. So we're coming up to St. Patrick's Day, and unfortunately we can't hold our physical parade and our international band championship this year. However, we are determined to still mark the occasion and bring the festivities directly to you, to your homes. So I'd love if you could join us virtually on the 17th of March to celebrate our festival. You can search for all the details if you look under Limerick St. Patrick's Festival across social media, across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And we've got a fantastic concert that evening that you really don't want to miss. So we'd love you to join us virtually. So I think it's great that we're celebrating the Ryan's connection to Limerick. I'm really, really looking forward to meeting some of you in person at a physical gathering when we can do so again. I'm sure I also have a few long lost relatives out there that I'd love to meet and reconnect with. So if you want to keep in touch with all things Limerick, don't forget you can visit us on limerick.ie for all the news from home. And I hope that we really get to see each other soon. So all the best.
So now to all the families watching from all across the world, we cannot wait to welcome you here to Limerick City and County. From Lochgar to Lochderg, we have castles and cathedrals. We have some of the finest food producers in all of Ireland, and we might just produce some of the best Guinness as well. Also, Shannon Airport is just down the road, as we say here in Ireland, 20 minutes from the heart of Limerick City, where I sit right now. You can take a stroll around the Three Bridges, you can get a kayak down the River Shannon, and you know what? You can show your family where your ancestors have come from. Maybe you want to make it a romantic trip. How about proposing on the towers in King John's Castle? Or if it's music you're into, we have trad, jazz, rock, pop, and a bit of rap as well. You name it, it's all here on offer in Limerick. And what's great about Limerick as well, we're pretty much in the middle of everywhere. Killarney's not that far away, Dublin's just a couple of hours away, or you might want to head up to Galway. And of course, we're nestled along the Wild Atlantic Way. I can tell you, this is an experience you do not want to miss. So why not come to Limerick and have a very special experience that is catered just for you and your loved ones, a boutique experience. Get to live in the Limerick that I currently live in right now and see it in all its glory. And now it is time to chat to the women that can make this all possible for you. They are 30 years plus in this industry, and they have been working across the Shannon region and Limerick, and they can set up the most amazing itinerary just for you and your loved ones. Niamh and Michelle are from Travel at Ireland101. And of course, the first thing we have to ask about is travel restrictions, but it's looking like 2022 could be the year that you could be here experiencing all that Limerick has to offer. Ladies, do tell us, what do we know about the travel restrictions?
Yes, Megan, while there are currently restrictions for travel into Ireland, now is a good time to start planning a trip to Ireland in 2022 or 2023. And of course, we extend a warm welcome to the gathering. As you mentioned, Limerick is the perfect base. It's the gateway to the Wild Atlantic Way. It has the Shannon Estuary, and it borders the counties of Clare, Kerry, Cork, and Tipperary. And so from trips to Bunratty Castle, private tours, craft gin tasting, there's so much on offer. Horse riding, horse racing, and of course water sports on the glorious lakes, rivers or seas. So also many hidden gems, and as people know, the hospitality in Ireland is world renowned, and many of the hoteliers in the region have been in business for generations. So warm hospitality is here to find. So to contact us, please email travel@Ireland101.com. We can answer any questions you may have. And then from there, we will go to organising a telephone call with you, and then gather all the information needed for a perfect itinerary in Ireland. There is a great appetite for reconnection and intergenerational travel, because we've been apart for so long. So we look forward to welcome you to Ireland.
So Niamh, Michelle, if we'll say families want to travel over, maybe it's couples or maybe it's, smaller groups of friends, what exactly can you offer them here in Limerick City and County, and what could be included in their itinerary?
Yes, Megan, what are the highlights? I think Limerick itself is the highlight. Where it's placed, where it is, and what it offers. It's ideally placed as the gateway to the Wild Atlantic Way, and it's also part of Ireland's hidden heartlands. So that makes it just such a treasure chest of amazing things to see and do and experience, from the very young to the more mature. And, whether you're coming individually, as a couple, in a family, or, some of you might like come together and, do something special for yourselves, like play golf, or, enjoy our gardens, or learn more about our food and drink in the area. So Limerick City itself, from the Georgian Quarter to the many, many great establishments that really have to be enjoyed. And we'd very much recommend that that's what you do, take part in life here. We've been a long time waiting to travel, and we've been a long time waiting to welcome people. So we would encourage people to learn how to play hurling. Hurling is very important in Limerick. Learn how to set dance, do a bit of surfing. It's all there for every age and every type of interest. So the city of Limerick and the county then have incredible neighbouring counties. So you can see a lot in a short time while you're here, and really enjoy, travel, but not in an exhausting way, connections and reconnecting, and also just discovering, discovering all of the things that are literally here on our doorstep.
Now you've all heard about Limerick City and County, and I know you are only dying to pack your bags and get on over here and experience all that we have mentioned. Well, we've got some good news for you. Fitzgerald's, September 25th, 2022, that is going to be your family gathering. And the Ryans, Limerick City Centre, June 2022 is what we have for you. And don't worry, the Collins family, we haven't forgotten about you guys either. We have something planning that we're going to share with you very, very shortly. So get in touch with travel@Ireland101 for all the details and book your family experience today. We're now going to hear from Rory Corbett from the Trade and Investment Team at Limerick City and County Council, and he is heading up the diaspora engagement.
Hello, Ryan family.
Rory Corbett here from Limerick City and County Council. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about diaspora. Diaspora communities are something that we care deeply about here in Limerick. As far back as 1690, just after the historic signing of the Treaty of Limerick, approximately 15,000 people from Limerick left for continental Europe, in an event which became later known as the Flight of the Wild Geese. When we talk about Limerick diaspora, we are of course talking about people who are natives of Limerick, but we're also talking about those migrants and descendants of migrants whose identity and sense of belonging have been shaped by their migration experience and their background. It's estimated that Limerick diaspora may now exceed over 3 million people worldwide. So there's literally millions of our ancestors scattered throughout the world, carrying the DNA of Limerick with them wherever they go. Today, Limerick is a vibrant, living city. Many household names of global enterprise have large and important operations here, connecting them to Europe and the rest of the world. Our research would suggest that 20% of our diaspora community are keen to connect with Limerick for business and investment opportunities, and we're here to facilitate those connections. International students study here, and sport and tourism play an important role in the everyday life of Limerick. And in each of those cases, it's that global network and that connectivity that is critical to our success. I am very pleased to be working on an important new initiative in respect of Limerick's engagement with this diaspora by creating a first global Limerick diaspora strategy, and we hope to be ready to publish this document in the coming months. As part of the development of this strategy, we would love to hear from people who are natives of Limerick or people who have an affinity to Limerick through family, education, work, sport, or other interests, but now live in another country or indeed elsewhere in Ireland. Details of our diaspora survey can be found on our Twitter page at Limerick Global or on limerick.ie. Our people are at the heart of everything we do here in Limerick City and County Council. Our vision is to have a single global community, people united by bonds of friendship, family, and of course history. We're delighted to support this event with our friends at Ireland101 and bring together so many Ryan family members from all across the world and connect you with our communities here in Limerick. Thank you.
So now I've learned loads about the Ryan family name and your ancestral roots here in Limerick City and County. But now it's time we hear from you from all across the world.
Greetings, Ryan cousins. This is Maureen from Boston, Massachusetts. In 1851, 4 Ryan brothers arrived in Boston: James, Michael, Patrick, and John. Patrick is my great-great-grandfather. Michael, Patrick, and John ended up going to Buffalo, New York, where I grew up. And I've come back to Massachusetts, where it all started for them. Patrick's oldest son, William Henry, became a U.S. congressman and served contemporaneously with Teddy Roosevelt, which is pretty cool. And we are still looking for the town and land for those boys. So anybody have any ideas? I'm all ears. Have a great weekend.
Hello from Yarmouth, Maine, here at the Royal River. Can't wait to join my first Ryan gathering. My Ryans were from Rosemould in County Tipperary. Take care. Can't wait to see everybody.
Hello, I'm Rory Ryan. And I'm Matthew Ryan. We were born in Sydney but now live in Kildare.
This is our great-great-grandfather, Owen Ryan, from Chambly, Bearcross, Tipperary.
This is our other great-great-grandfather, Ned Ryan Dove, from Kilcommon.
Hello to everyone in the Ryan clan.
Greetings from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. My name's Eve Millington, née Mullen, and my Ryan ancestor is my paternal grandmother, Mary Susan Ryan, one of 13 Ryan children born in Lac Sainte Marie, Quebec, just north of Ottawa. Mary was one of 13 children, and her grandfather, Cornelius Ryan, emigrated from Pallas, Donahill, Tipperary in the late 1840s, along with his father William and mother Mary and siblings. One ancestor of note, I'm proud to say that Michael Patrick Ryan, my 2 times great uncle, ran for Parliament in 1867. He lost out the first time to Thomas D'Arcy McGee, member for Montreal. However, D'Arcy McGee was assassinated in April of 1868, and Michael Patrick Ryan took his seat. He was subsequently elected at another election and remained a member of Canada's first Parliament until 1889. So there you have it. Cheers. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this. There are lots of Ryan descendants alive and well in Canada. Cheers. Bye.
Hello to the Ryans around the world. Greetings to you from Greymouth, West Coast, South Island, New Zealand, on this fine and sunny day. It's Wednesday here. I'm looking forward to seeing you and talking to you all on Sunday and learning more about the Ryans throughout the world. Hope COVID is treating you okay. Here in New Zealand, we've had it pretty tough and we've got through it, the worst of it. I'm just hoping that you all around the world are coping as well. Cheers.
Hi, my name's Kathy and I'm sending you this greeting from just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. As you can see, it's snowing a little bit here. It's a little cold. I am joining the Ryan clan gathering because I've been doing my research on the Ryan line in my family. My 3rd great-grandfather, Edward Ryan, was born around 1830, we think in Tipperary, but we're not sure. He married Mary Daly. They had a daughter, Margaret Ryan, in 1845, and at some point they emigrated to New Jersey. I hope everybody's doing really well and staying happy and healthy, and I hope to make some wonderful connections and be inspired by today. Thank you.
Well, that's it for the Global Ryan Family Online Gathering for 2021, brought to you by Limerick City and County Council. And what an amazing time it has been learning more about the Ryan family, where it all began in Limerick, and of course, hearing from so many Ryans from all across Ireland as well, and those of you who've tuned in from all around the world. As I said, we cannot wait to welcome you back here to Limerick City and County and to show you what we have to offer. Of course, it's all happening June 2022 here in Limerick City. So come along, meet fellow Ryans from all across the world and walk around where your ancestors once walked. If you want any more information on this family gathering or maybe about the Ryan family, just email info@Ireland101.com. Gurmila Mila Malguth, and as I said, we cannot wait to welcome you to Limerick in June 2022.